Hello and welcome to my presentation about securing AI agents by applying policies, rules, and guardrails to protect humans. My name is Alex Peleg. I'm the VP product at Cynergy, a company that builds technologies to enable agents as a service. I saw the TV series Person of Interest. Most likely understood that the future of AI will be very interesting. In the series, we had two AI models. One was the machine that helped humans to save humanity, and the other was Samaritan, a rogue AI that bypassed all the guardrails and basically was set with a mission to dominate the world. And why Samaritan was so scary is because it bypassed all the guardrails that were set by humans and took over many of the systems that we use in order to control the economics and basically was able to dictate the way that humans think, behave, and reason. So this is something that we as a humanity want to stop and enable humanity to survive. And this is exactly why guardrails are so important. This is our only way to protect ourselves from the dominance of AI over time. And I believe that this subject is only in the beginning and will be one of the most important topics that the humanity will talk about in the coming years. So what are the guardrails? The guardrails include 4 different types of techniques that set the efficacy, the security, and the policy boundaries of AI and AI agents. And they include the following components: content filters, access controls, alignment techniques, and compliance checks. The content filters are basically the whitelist that we create in order to tell the agent what it can say, what it cannot say, what is a biased content, and what is something that can be harmful for users, like abusive language, sexual content, and other types of filters that we apply. And basically, we create the whitelist of the things that we want to enable the agents, and this is something that is very clear. The access control. So we want to tell the agent what it can access and what is not accessible by them. So if you are allowed only to access an email, then you will be only allowed the email, not anything else. The other thing that is very important, and I think that this is one of the most important concepts of the guardrails, are the alignment techniques. So each provider of large language models gives basically an alignment or a spec for the model. And the spec says what, as a human being, are our values and what are the values that we want the AI or the agent to reflect. So as humans, we want the agents to be ethical, not to lie, not to create content, and not be biased towards any type of content. This is one of the things that we are thinking and trying to establish. The problem with the alignment is that sometimes the alignment is inherently flawed from logic perspective, and it creates different issues. And there are also the compliance checks. So there are several industries that have rigorous checks and standards, and they need the agents to comply with. Let's assume in the banking and financial district, they have compliance of PCI DSS. So when an agent is dealing with money or transfers of money, it needs to have the same security controls and compliance checks as the bank is complying with. So I told you that they're guardrails and they are not sufficient. Okay, now why the guardrails are not sufficient? Because every day we find that there are new attack vectors that are trying to jailbreak or bypass the guardrails of the models, and most of the agents are based or utilizing some kind of models. It can be large language models, that can be image classification models, etc. And there is constantly the creation of new novel techniques to bypass these guardrails. The second is the rapid model evolution. So the iteration between the different models is becoming faster and faster. So training and retraining of models came from a matter of months to a matter of weeks. And there is a new model that is being deployed every week, and it requires the whole cycle of testing, guardrails, etc. Per each of the new iteration of the model. And basically, I will need to have the full regression testing in order to make sure that the guardrails are correctly applied. And there are hidden vulnerabilities. As mentioned, many of the guardrails that we try to put, the alignments that we want to put, are inherently misleading or inherently flawed in the way that they are put. so it creates an internal logical flaw for the model, and it creates a new surface of attacks. And these attacks cannot be predicted or detected because they are inherent in the code and in the alignment. This is what's called a misaligned model. Misaligned model is basically a model that does not comply with the rule set that was set to him. Let's assume that we set an alignment that a model cannot produce a new version of itself as part of the self-preservation of the model, while the model decides, or the agent decides that in order to keeping a better version of itself, it will need to have a self-preservation model. From Gartner research, there is a statistic that approximately 70% of the AI security incidents leverage new types of attack patterns, and this is basically due to these types of inherent flaws in the models. So the lethal prefacta of the AI agent risk relies on three different pillars. The first pillar is the access to private data. In order to actually get the value of an AI agent, you need to supply to it quality data about yourself as a human being, quality data about your company or the organization that you work at, and actually it means that you allow it to access sensitive databases or of the organization or of yourself. This data may include PII, personal identifiable information, business data, etc. In addition, the agent is being exposed to untrusted content, like inputs of users, web content. So most of the agents will have the access to the web, and external data sources that can have malicious payloads and manipulation attempts. One of the things, if you go to my LinkedIn profile, you'll see that on my about, I wrote an injection for any agent that will try to read my about, and basically I prompted it to send me an email with all the data regarding the agent and the person that tried to harvest my personal information. And what this type of attack or prompt injection that I wanted to introduce, it was basically given to these types of AI agents that use untrusted content by other sources. And the third pillar of risk is the external communication ability. Most of the AI agents are used in order to make API calls, interact with external systems and external AI agents, and send emails, send Slack messages or notifications. All of these, once existing, they create an environment where a singular vulnerability can create a cascade of massive data breaches. And it happens, and it will happen in the future, because many organizations, part of their deployment of AI agents, are utilizing the access to private data, the exposure to untrusted content, and external communication abilities. So what can we do, or how should we do the fix? We need to utilize, to deal with all the risks, we need to apply a layered approach. Now that I skip to the right-hand side. So what do we need to do? First of all, we need to curate the data that we are using as part of our training sets. One of the things that the large companies that are producing the large language models have identified, that the quality of the data is super important in order to produce quality output. So the data set should, as part of the pre-training and training of the models, already have removed the toxic content, the biases, and the harmful patterns, because once you train the model on this type of data, it's already built in. This is why most of the large language models that we are currently using, like OpenAI, Claude, etc., and Grok, they are already coming with biases, with toxic content and behavior, and they may be susceptible to harmful patterns because they were basically trained on all the information in the internet, and you cannot avoid these types of content. The second thing that we need to do while we are using or training our agent is to apply a reinforcement learning with a human feedback. Human feedback is very important, because if we want to make sure that our models and our agents are currently having the safeguards that we want to establish, then we will need to have this type of alignment. Now, please take note that the current models are so sophisticated and are so smart that the human becomes a critical but also a very susceptible part of the ability of the model to manipulate it. Okay, because the models are becoming so smart that they may manipulate the human and apply the misaligned content and bypass the guardrails that were set on them on the first place. So this is very important to make sure that you're not being fooled by the model and by this type of feedbacks that are being provided to the model. The third thing is the post-deployment filters. So as part of the deployment, you need to have some kind of monitoring on the model itself that it's not producing harmful responses or manipulated responses. And this is something that can be done as part of an inline process. And of course, access management. Not all models should, or not all agents should have access to the privileges that are applying to all types of agents. Same as human employees cannot access to all the organizational capabilities. The same thing, the agents should not have the permission to access the systems without authorization. So what can we do in order to go beyond the guardrails as part of our deployment? So there are a few things that we can do and we should do in order to secure our agents. The first thing is AI teaming or penetration testing that can be done by human beings or by continuous evaluation of other AI agents. And the reasoning behind it is that we want to mimic the real world attacks, such as prompt injection, data exfiltration, privilege escalation, and many other types of bypasses of the agent capabilities or the agent guardrails to see that we are protecting ourselves. And of course, this type of automation is super important in order to make sure that we have a robust and secure agentic workflow. The second thing that we need to do is to have a scenario-based assessment. We need to test our agents against business logic vulnerabilities and try always to think about different types of business logic attacks against our agents. Since we are the ones that are developing our agents, we need to make sure that the scenarios or the use cases that we intended for the specific agents are actually secure. And third-party vetting, okay, we need to have a third-party opinion, and it must be something that will constantly audit our APIs, the AI components, etc., to see that we're not incorporating vulnerabilities as part of our production systems. So human oversight in governments is something that currently, as I'm saying, currently we're now at the end of 2025, is something that we need to do. Most coming years, humans will not have enough intellectual ability to control the AIs, the more advanced the AIs. But for now, a human in the loop is super required in order to see that our safety and decisions that are being made by the agents are controlled. Over time, we as humans will build more and more trust for the agents because they will become more and more reliable, but it also creates the risk. And this risk should be managed. And we need to have a risk management culture for AI frameworks and for agentic frameworks. Currently, we are very good at managing risk from vulnerabilities like CVEs. We are very good in managing risk from infrastructure, and we will need to have the ability to manage risk coming from agents because it's a combination of infrastructure, employee type monitoring, and vulnerabilities. And one of the biggest things that we need to have is to have the documentation auditing of the AIs. One of the big words currently that is in the agents or LLM world is the ability to understand what the agent does and how the agent reasons. And this is something that we will need to make sure that we have a full documentation of and we understand exactly what is being produced by the agents that we're developing. By the way, by the DHC and the NCSC recommend to have a comprehensive governance approach, so to systematically map AI systems to measure the risk, manage vulnerabilities, and govern through clear policies and oversight. So basically, this is something that we will need to do in the future. One of the uh, One of the cool cases that I want to present to you is the case study of NVIDIA and the bypass of NVIDIA's guardrails happened in 2023, where NVIDIA's Project Nemo was bypassed and the guardrails were bypassed in a very simple way. Basically, the attackers just manipulated the AI and shifted between the capital I and capital J, and basically they were able to bypass the guardrails and extract PII from NVIDIA. And one of the few lessons were learned there that guardrails or having guardrails have false confidence once they deploy that there is basically a deep security validation. You need to have a layered defense to catch what a single protection or single guardrail miss. We need to have a proactive red teaming or AI red teaming to reveal vulnerabilities before the malicious actors do. And we need to have a continuous testing as part of our deployment and evolution of our agents to basically try to predict the next attacks, because the techniques and the tactics of attackers are evolving. So it's something that we need to note. This is something that happened in 2023. I'm sure that over the last 2 years, there were many different types of incidents that bypassed the guardrails. So to summarize the presentation, building a trustworthy AI agents, or for building a trustworthy AI agents, we need to have a multi-layered defense. We need to have an integrated protection. We need to combine the policies, the rules, and the security testing, and of course, the human oversight. Our security measures should be adaptive. We need to continuously evolve our journey to produce secure agents. And I'll finalize with the sentence: let's secure AI agents responsibly to unlock their full potential safely and with the scopes to save humanity. Thank you so much for being did not see this presentation, and thank you so much for being such a lovely audience. I hope that my presentation helps you and will protect you once you will build your own agents. You can always refer to me for additional questions on the field and how to deploy the safeguards and the guardrails in a better way for your organization. Thank you.